Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this country that you're in. It is Monday, and we have a whole heck pile of things to talk about. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. I'm your regular host of the show you're watching, Rebel Roundup. It's our daily news and opinion show, and boy, oh boy, it is very live. And I'm joined today by my friend from beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan, Lise, Merle. We're hot off a weekend together, and we just thought we've got so much to talk about. So
Oh,
Lise, who normally co-hosts with me on Tuesday and Wednesday, she's hosting with me today because, man, Scott Moe's up to something. Lise, how's it going?
well, hello, my darling Sheila Gunn Reid, and hello, Canada. It's great to be here after a wild and wonderful weekend
Wild.
because of the hard work of the people of Arcola, Saskatchewan, who put on their Arcola Rodeo this last weekend, which was PS live streamed on Rebel News. And thanks so much to all of the people of Arcola, Saskatchewan and Southeast Saskatchewan for being such wonderful and hospitable hosts. And speaking of Southeast Saskatchewan, do we have our teeth into a developing story, Canada, that has all of the features, okay, that has all of the hallmarks of an insane scandal? And it all has to do with Southeast Saskatchewan. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. We, like Sheila said, we have a bunch of things to talk about, and we'll get
So
to that a little
much.
bit later in the program. But it is juicy, y'all. It is juicy. Just on the surface, it is juicy. We're on layer 3 of the onion.
Right.
And this looks like it's going to go much deeper than we originally thought.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, the Brookfield octopus tentacles are in this too. You can't do anything in this country without the Brookfield, just their
Octopus
octopus, their arms and legs. Just is it the Brookfield
wrapped
octopus or more of
around
a
you.
kraken or like a giant squid? Just into everything, every
Yes.
announcement that, frankly, every politician makes. You should be asking yourself, how's Brookfield in the
How's
middle of
Brookfield?
this?
How are they involved in this? And all you have to do is scratch the surface, and there they are. There
Yeah.
they are. And so yeah, this story is extraordinarily important for the people of Southeast Saskatchewan, and being that is the place that saved me in COVID. Okay, the
Yes.
people of Southeast Saskatchewan mean a great deal to me, and we are going to look into this story for them.
Yeah, our traveling partner said it over the weekend that we ended up in quite possibly the best part of Saskatchewan. And by the way, friends at our Cola Rodeo, thank you for hosting us. Thank you for putting on a heck of a show. We didn't, Justin, if you're watching it, we didn't want to spring it on you at the time. But Lisa and I would love to color commentate on your children's events live. We would, the wild pony races or the mutton busting or whatever you call the mutton busting in Southeast Saskatchewan. That's what we call it around these parts. I think it was the sheep scramble is what they called it.
Mhm.
But anyways, we would love to be a part of that next year. I feel like I have it in me to color commentate on that. And I know Lise
Yes.
does
Yes, for sure. We've been to enough rodeos. We've seen enough
too. Yes.
little cowboys and cowgirls performing, and we know that that's such an important part of Western culture is
Yeah.
getting our little guys, getting our little guys sort of steeped in rodeo culture real early, and we just want to support that. And yes, Arcola Rodeo, we're ready to do it up for your little guys next year.
Yeah, my kids were all mutton busters at the local rodeo, so I feel like I have it in me to color commentate. And as you know, friends, I can sometimes I have an interesting turn of phrase. I should tell everybody how they can get involved in the show today. If you're watching us on Rumble, thank you for supporting that really excellent free speech platform that doesn't censor your thoughts and viewpoints, including our own. If you are compelled by love of the little network that could, and you want to leave a paid chat, it's called a Rumble Rant over there. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we're reading it on air. Over on the censorship platform of YouTube, you can do the same rules apply. It's called a super chat though. But if you are unable to watch the live version of the show and you're catching us in the recorded version, but you want to support us anyway because you love us and we love you back, you can leave a paid comment. It's called a super thanks. And the reason we rely on your support is because, of course, unlike the uh, Carney colonized mainstream media, we don't rely on the government to pay the bills. We rely on your love and support. So thank you so much for making that happen, because as you know, there would be no Rebel News without you, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, because I want to invite you to celebrate 10 years of Rebel News together. But we'll get into the news of the day first, and maybe we'll talk about that after the first break. Carney, Ukraine.
Oh,
I saw an interesting thing on X today, and I believe it's absolutely true. But anyway, Carney visits Kiev, won't rule out sending Canadian troops if a peace deal is reached. The Canadian troops are in Latvia right now. They are in Latvia, and they're ill-equipped for their time in Latvia because they don't have the right helmets and other accoutrement, because we fund things like LGBTQ issues abroad and not our men and women who sign up to defend Canadian ideals around the world. But it's part of the 2 billion in Canadian funding, plus another 2 billion in seized Russian assets that they announced at the G7. And then Carney's going to do this. And then just remember, Canadians are sleeping in the streets and struggling to get by. In fact, I just wrote up something for the website today. And it was a release from, I think, Harris and Company, like a bankruptcy, the bankruptcy people. They did like a
okay.
polling, they did some polling data at Harris and Partners. And it's 80% of Canadians are rating their savings right now to pay groceries. 85% more are worried about money under Carney's economy. Yeah, 78.7% admit they've dipped into savings for basic essentials, and 85% said they worry more about money now than they did in 2020. But that's okay, because we've got all the money in the world for Zelensky.
Yeah, and what those stats tell us is that between 10 and 20% of the Canadian public is in on the take. Okay,
The
they are not
Brookfields of the
suffering
world.
because that's right. They are profiting and benefiting from the way that our government is operating right now, where the government is failing. You know, 80 to 90% of the rest of us. That's what those statistics tell us. And just further to Carney's pledges, of billions of Canadian taxpayer dollars. It took $2 billion to get a seat at the adults table for Mark Carney, because just last week we were making fun of him for not even being invited to the White House with the sort of NATO alliance countries. And so he thought to himself, now, okay, so I wasn't invited to the big meeting in Washington. So now what do I have to do to look like a big player on the world stage? Instead
Right.
of inviting Zelensky over to Canada from Washington, which is what, like a 2-hour flight.
Right.
Mark Carney abandons Canada again to go for another European vacation to announce another round of funding, and he went so much further. He did. I'm so happy that we touched on it. That he's not ruling out Canadian troops on the ground. And just let me be real clear. Okay, let me be real clear. I want 0 Canadian lives offered up to this conflict zone. Okay, 0% Canadian lives offered up to this conflict zone. That is not controversial to say. I don't think that our young men and women in the military should be subjected to a war that has nothing to do with us. Okay, 0% to do with us. But that puts them at great risk of physical and psychological harm. Okay, this is not controversial to say. But he's also floating increased spending. And
The spending numbers are wild too.
it is insane. And to consider that we haven't had a budget yet in the country, that we have
Right.
no accountability, that we have no transparency. He is walking us into a conflict that has nothing to do with us and that nobody here wants, and nobody is able to stop him. Like, this is crazy behavior what Mark Carney is doing. He also just scooting ahead while we're talking on it. He says there's no exclusion for pathways for Ukraine to the European Union or to NATO for that matter. Well, first of all, NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The Ukraine is not on the Atlantic. They have
Right. And that
access
was
to the
one
Black
of Russia's big problems, was
Sea.
like, You can't. That was sort of the deal, right?
It's like, it is patently insane for Mark Carney to suggest that Ukraine should have a pathway into NATO because they are not on the North Atlantic. They are geographically exempt from that organization because of where they are on the earth. And it's along the same lines of crazy as Mark Carney suggesting that Canada is the most European, non-European country, right? Like, Mark
Right.
Carney has taken too many elbows to the head, I think, because he is
Right.
talking craziness as it pertains to redrawing and reorganizing political borders. It's
Right.
wild. It is wild.
We've got a video of Mark Carney talking about
Mm.
that, but let's just go through quickly some of the numbers. $2 billion in funding for Ukraine, which includes $835 million for critical equipment such as ammunition. Wouldn't it be nice if we'd topped up the Canadian military, but instead we're worried about fighting climate change? $680 million for the purchase of military equipment sourced from the United States to strengthen Ukraine's air defense capabilities. I thought we hated the Americans.
Wait, Canada is buying military equipment from the United States, whom
To
P.S.
give
Mark Carney
to the
says are
United
bad.
to give to Ukraine.
To give to make it make sense, Canada.
Um, 220 million to purchase drone and counter drone technologies.
That is not
165.
good. We've all seen the videos. Okay, we've all seen the drone videos. That is not good to be involved in.
The drone videos. 165 million in support for the armed forces of Ukraine. Again, imagine just being someone in the Canadian military reading this right now. And $100 million to source ammunition and explosives through the Czech ammunition initiative. Let's go to that video from Mark Carney. There will be no exclusion of pathways for Ukraine to the European Union or to NATO for that matter. I wonder if he had any discussions with the American president, who is doing his best to broker peace, because this seems like he just threw a wrench in the spokes right there.
Sure did. He sure did.
Through with our allies in Coalition of the Willing and with Ukraine, the modalities of those security guarantees on land, in the air, and the sea, and I would not exclude the presence of troops.
Coalition of the Willing. Coalition
What does that even mean?
Of the butchers who are literally walking our children into war.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find
Coalition of the Willing.
We've got also we don't need to show this quite
Did
yet.
they just
I'll mention it in a second.
Did they just label the United States as unwilling? Kinda.
Kinda. We've also got Carney speaking on Canada quadrupling its military spending as part of meeting new NATO spending levels while meeting with Poland's prime minister. Because Poland, being sort of next door to this mess, is meeting its NATO targets. So let's see what Poland's doing, and then I'll show you what Canada's doing.
We're together working side by side in Ukraine, together side by side in NATO, and if I may say, we learned much from the Prime Minister, from his government, including the importance of pulling our full weight in NATO. And it will take us a few years to reach Polish levels of commitment, but it's possible. And we have made that commitment. We will quadruple our spending on defense between now and the end of the decade. And to do that right, to do that properly, we need the best partners in partnership with Poland, in aerospace, in other areas, and in partnership with Europe through that intensified defense partnership.
Okay. Now, he says that he's going to increase Canadian military spending, but I'll show you how he's doing it. Olivia, would you mind bringing up that story that I did? And it's exclusive access document, so this is from August 12th. And it's sort of right after Mark Carney says that he's going to increase spending to the Canadian military, but and that was by $8 billion. He said he was going to do that, and he said, "Oh, like everybody's going to get raises, and we're gonna." So, but half of that increased military spending is 424.27 billion, which will go directly into decarbonizing the military.
Oh my God!
So
this
he's
is
not spending it on real things. He's saying, "Oh, we're spending $8 billion on the military." Yeah, but 50% of that
is going to green initiatives.
Green initiatives. Oh, and
Green,
who's going to be
net
involved
zero.
in that?
Let me just. I
Brookfield
wonder.
Octopus.
I wonder what arm of Brookfield is going to have its tentacles wrapped around this military spending. And
Exactly.
we've seen disasters when the federal government injects green initiatives into infrastructure or military or other federal I guess agencies. We've seen how this can go sideways. Like, is the military supposed to be the defensive arm of Canada, or is it supposed to be the green initiative flag bearer? But I guess we can't forget that at least since 2017, when pride flags started being flown on military bases across the country of Canada, that's when we completely lost the plot as it pertained to our military strength. Like, that's when it all started going bad. And so we're pivoting we're pivoting from one DEI structure to another ESG structure. And this time there's going to be Brookfield involved.
Like a dirty shirt.
Insane.
Like he just can't help himself. This is just Carney's conflict of interest government. That's what the whole thing is.
It's institutional corruption that is just rotten to its very, very core. And how any of this is being allowed to happen is an outrage. It's an actual outrage.
Yep. And then there's Doug Ford weighing in for some godforsaken reason. What does Doug Ford have to do with any of this? And you know what? Here, I would, if the Western premiers weighed in, I would at least understand that there was a reason that they might weigh in. Because guess where all the Ukrainian refugees are going? They're going to the West. Why? Because we have their schools, we have their culture, we have their food, we have their churches. I can go to Mass every Sunday in Ukrainian. Yes. This is where all the we are culturally compatible with all the Ukrainian refugees. I don't mind that they're coming here. You can take Ukrainian immersion at school because it makes more sense out here than taking French immersion. Unless you want a job with the government, at least it's, again, has to do with the culture of the place. But there's Doug Ford shooting his mouth off. And then, of course, taking a jab at Donald Trump, who is trying to put an end to this war because he just can't help himself, because he's appointed himself the foreign affairs minister for some reason. But let's hear from Doug Ford embarrassing the country.
Obviously, again, it adds a whole layer to this Independence Day and these celebrations that we've seen. There were some celebrations held yesterday in Toronto. You can see Premier Doug Ford right there. He was asked about that ongoing conflict. He had some strong words for Vladimir Putin. Here's what he had to say.
We'll never, ever waver in support of the Ukrainian community and the war that's going on. Putin is an absolute tyrant, and you never back down. You give that guy an inch, he wants your country. That's what he wants, and he won't stop. And I'm disappointed with President Trump as well. You know, he should be putting a hard line that Putin doesn't get an inch of property, not an inch.
So again, some strong words that we're hearing from him there. And
why?
Oh, Doug Ford. Oh, well, you know, I suppose Sheila, that we should be happy to see Doug Ford at a Ukrainian heritage festival instead of a pride parade at this time of year too. That's I guess Doug Ford can receive partial points for that, but as for the rest of everything he said, again, what is he thinking?
It's just any opportunity. Like, you can both hate Putin, not think he needs to take any more of Ukraine, but also realize that opening your mouth and taking a sideways jab at Donald Trump while he's trying to end a war and simultaneously crush the Ontario economy, probably a bad idea.
Probably a real bad idea, Doug. Like, again, whoever Doug has in his sphere of influence is giving him all of the bad advice that a man can receive on this, because he's taken the exact wrong approach since the very beginning. Doug doesn't know where his elbows are at this point. They're so high up in the air, and that was a strategy that was adopted, we'll say, by the Liberal Party of Canada, and Doug just doesn't know when to let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah. He's got to walk by and boot the dog, poke it with a stick.
That's exactly what he just did. He kicked America. Like, stop kicking the biggest dog, Doug, and maybe you'll stop getting whipped, Maybe they'll stop whipping because they're going to hear it. The Americans are going to hear Doug said that.
Every day he finds a way to just shoehorn his crazy anti-Americanism into everything.
Yes. Yeah.
But for no reason.
It's really wild. It really is quite wild.
Pathological at this point.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Doug. Let's hit an ad break, and then we've got a quick ad read. And then, because today is just a real packed pierogi of a day, the cabbage roll is rolled up real tight for us. So we'll hit an ad break. We'll come right back. Then we've got some Poilievre stuff. And then, of course, we'll touch on what Brookfield plans to be up to in beautiful southeastern Saskatchewan.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
All right. I want to quickly let everybody know about a partnership that we have with our friends at the Wellness Company. Have you ever wondered why your brain feels foggy? Man, does mine today. Even when you're eating clean and exercising, it might not be burnout. Oh no, it could be parasites. What?
Oh.
No. Groundbreaking research from Dr. Alan McDonald revealed a direct link between chronic parasitic infections and neurological diseases like multiple sclerosis. I'm terrified. Parasites can cause inflammation, nerve damage, and long-term cognitive decline. More reason to do a full body cleanse at least once a year. The Wellness Company has a solution for you: ivermectin and mebendazole, the gold standard parasite solution, now combined in one cleanse combo designed to eliminate harmful invaders and support your immune system naturally. Medical grade, not some trendy herbal gimmick. Fill out a quick intake form and get a 3-month supply shipped straight to your door. Make America Healthy Again is officially here, and the Wellness Company is making hard to get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best. Head to twc.health/rebel and use code REBEL to save $60 off plus free shipping. And that free shipping is for our American friends. And cleanse your body today. Okay. We should also tell you about our birthday party. It's fast approaching. If you want to celebrate 10 years of Rebel News with us, why do you want to celebrate with us? Because without you, there's no Rebel News. The chronically unemployed, Carney contaminated mainstream media journalists have predicted our demise, well, since our very inception. And yet they are on the, like, as I said, they're chronically unemployed. They just cycle through media companies. Once they get laid off, they go to another, and then they get laid off, and then they go to another. Glenn McGregor, you know what I'm talking about. And yet I remain here at Rebel News, going strong, despite all their predictions. And so we want to invite you to our birthday party, Calgary, September 18th, and Toronto, October 16th. And you can find out more, get your tickets at happybirthdayrebel.com. Lise is going to be at our Calgary one. We are going to be overdressed. I heard the dress came in yesterday and I am so thrilled. Now I might do multiple costume changes a la Cher. We'll see. I have 2 or 3 dresses and then I was like, why do I even choose? Why don't I just wear them all at some point? We've got Tamara Leach as our musical guest at our Calgary event, and you can join us for a VIP dinner if you're so inclined before. So music, snacks, photos, fun, dancing for sure. I love to cut a rug, and it's going to be great. We can't wait to see you there. And I'm so looking forward to Lisa's dress. I am.
Yeah, it's quite preposterous and ostentatious, and you should expect nothing less.
Right.
I'm nothing if not, like, I'm not boring to look at. Okay, I may not be. I'm never boring to look at. So we're just going to do it up at the Rebel birthday party in Calgary, and it is going to be the best night of the year.
I will say that you've always been a real cornucopia for the eyeballs. All right, the chats are coming in. So let's read these and then we'll get to more of them at the end too. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse. Silver Feet gives us $5. Hot off the press. Oh no, sorry. I don't want to say Silver Feet first. We'll go to Nana Wake, $10. Morning, ladies. You provide a nice way to start off the week. Oh, thanks.
That's sweet.
So Carnage will buy U.S. planes for Ukraine, but buys cheap, incompatible knockoff fighters for Canada from Europe that irritated Trump and NATO. Oh, don't forget the F-18s, AF-18s, because we bought Junkers from Australia and we're still trying to turn them into CF-18s. Yeah. Anyway, Silver Feet gives us $5 hot off the press. A certain faction of Sri Lanka is expecting a shipment of pew-pews from Canada in September 2026.
Sri Lanka, you say? Oh, well,
that
sounds like something.
A certain faction? We're talking about the Tamils?
That sounds not at all dangerous or something.
We should get our public safety minister right on it. Oh, wait, he can't. He has to recuse himself from such things.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure there's nothing to see here. There's no malfeasance. There's no malfeasance sending arms to Sri Lanka.
If indeed we are, who even knows? Sasquatch Chronicles, $4.99. Sasquatch Chronicles had some very nice things to say to us last week. As an American, Doug Ford is my favorite Canadian villain.
Just a can of ham ambling around, shouting into microphones. I know. He's kind of art. Like, I wish you could have known Rob. As an American,
they only
like,
know the outrageous things about Rob, and Rob was a deeply flawed man, but just the most genuine man. I'll never forget the time CBC tried to do a radio interview with him, and they just called his cell phone because Rob gave his cell phone to everybody. He was like, if you got a problem down at City Hall, you call Rob. Here's my cell phone. Well, CBC had it, and they called him, and he was sort of distracted on the call and he didn't have time for them. And they're like, oh, you seem sort of distracted. Like, they were sort of offended that he was distracted and didn't have time to commit his full attention to them. He's like, yeah, I'm coaching inner city football right now, like actively at practice. Right. And they're like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I got to go by. It's my favorite Rob Ford moment.
The craziest thing is Doug has adopted all of that media that Rob knew all about as his best friends.
Oh, it's the grossest.
He's sort of negated what his brother started by sleeping with the enemy. Like, Rob knew whose side he was on. You know what I mean? Rob
people.
is on the side of the people. Doug is on the side of the mainstream media, Mark Carney, and the overall federal government blob.
You're the same ghouls who badgered Rob, I think, into an early grave, who would like stand on milk crates to peer over his back fence. And I'm not even making that up. I don't know what Daniel Dale was standing on, but he was
who followed him to the hospital while he was dying of cancer.
Yeah,
that's who Doug Ford is real tight with now. Like, it says a thing, doesn't it? When you cozy up to the people who were bad to your brother, it says a thing about Doug.
Who made fat jokes when Doug had I think Rob's cancer was in his fat cells. And so they made big fat jokes. And I'm like, have you guys looked in the mirror lately? Yeah. You absolute blobs. Like, he couldn't get his kids out of the house to take them to school because, they should have respected that he was that kind of dad, mayor of the largest city in the country. And he still drove his kids to school. That would have been something that most people would have found endearing. I know I did. But then he had to run the gauntlet of ghouls from the mainstream media on his driveway. And yeah, Rob was just a good guy. And Doug traded on the last name.
Yeah, agreed.
To much success, honestly. Anyway, Sasquatch Chronicles goes on to say, he's all we got after Jagmeet took his money and ran away. Keep up the great work, ladies. Yeah, I mean, we also have Carney. He's a villain in his own right.
Can we just review the fact that if Jagmeet Singh had voted no confidence, we would not be in this mess? Can we never forget that? Let's just never forget that. We just need to shame him a little bit publicly forever.
Right. We would have had Pierre Poilievre as the prime minister right now.
Yeah.
Instead, he ragged the puck, to use a hockey euphemism, long enough for the Liberals to dance with Mark Carney.
That's right.
And then they got rewarded for 10 years of incompetence and corruption.
Yeah, they sure did, which is doing nothing but encouraging more incompetence and more corruption.
Oh, the corruption is...
It's off the chain now. Like, it's off the chain now. We thought it was bad before. Just you wait.
Oh.
Just you wait, Canada.
Take me back. Take me back to the days of Billionaire Island. The Aga Khan vacation.
The Aga Khans, yes.
Take me back to that.
I crave for the olden days when one of Justin Trudeau's trips, the catering for one of his trips cost more than a house in Saskatchewan. I crave those days.
Quarter of a mil.
Because now,
no, it was like a third of a mil.
You can get a nice house in Saskatchewan for the amount that Trudeau spent on catering, and I crave those days because we went from wasting $200,000 to wasting tens and tens and tens and tens and tens to hundreds of billions of dollars. Like, when you guys hear when this all comes out, I just can't wait to sit back and go, so we told you this was happening.
It's not going to be our problem, Lise. It's not going to be our problem.
We're going to be in a better place.
In the new country.
In the new country.
There won't be any slaps on the wrist for ethics violations. It'll be straight to jail like the Americans.
I am so happy you said that, because I was just thinking this morning, in the new country, your jail term is going to be proportionate to the amount of public funds you pilfer. Okay, we're going to write that right into law. You pilfer $135 million on a program that goes nowhere and helps nobody. Guess who's going to jail for 135 years? It's you. It's you.
American style sentencing for political corruption. That's all I want.
Girl.
Erica Ritz gives us $10 and says, love everyone at Rebel News, but it's always such a treat when you two co-host.
Oh, thanks.
The best friend energy really shines through.
Well, thank you.
I can't hide it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I can't hide it. That's why I always introduce her as my best friend, because it's true, and why lie?
Yeah.
I'll just lead with my chin.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
All righty. Let's get into Poilievre stuff. This is on self-defense. This is following up on beautiful Premier Danielle Smith saying, if you end up in someone's house committing a crime. What did she say? If you don't want to get shot or beaten up, don't break into people's houses. And I was like, damn right, sister. We don't charge people for that sort of stuff in Alberta. But in Ontario, if you defend yourself against a home invader, apparently you're supposed to engage in mutual hand-to-hand combat and go no further than just getting yourself to safety. You cannot even neutralize the target, as they say. Poilievre disagrees. Let's hear from him.
To such a point where people are now demanding the ability to defend themselves in their own homes because they know the law will not defend them. And rightly, Canadians believe that they need to defend themselves if an intruder who's probably out on bail for the 100th time under Liberal laws comes into the house, and frankly, they should have the right to defend themselves and their property against an intruder. But it is sad that we've come to a place where people feel the law will not protect them, and Mr. Carney has sent home Canadian MPs, while crime, the cost of living, housing costs, immigration are all up, while elbows are down.
You just mentioned the incident in Lindsay, Ontario, and you posted about it on social media earlier this week. Do you think Canada needs a castle law or a castle doctrine on the books to shield homeowners from facing criminal prosecution like the gentleman in Lindsay, Ontario, for defending their loved ones and properties during a break-in?
The law needs to be clear that if someone comes into your house uninvited to steal your property or harm your family, you need to be able to do whatever is necessary to stop them. And my message to the criminal thugs who are invading the homes of Canadians in unprecedented numbers because of Liberal laws is that you should be in serious danger if you go into someone's house illegally and try to harm them. If you don't want to be harmed, then don't invade someone's house and don't threaten their security. The law needs to be very clear that people have the right to defend their homes and their families against lawbreakers.
How is that controversial? Well, it is controversial if you ask the boiled potatoes over at the CBC. I'm looking at you, Andrew Coyne. What did he say? You can't beat someone within an inch of their life. If somebody breaks into your house, real easy to say behind your gated community or whatever. And tell me you don't have any people you love more than yourself without telling me you don't have any people you love more than yourself.
That's exactly right. Well, it's so good to see Pierre Poilievre with his gag off a little bit. Like this is the Pierre Poilievre, the scrappy, common sense, no nonsense Pierre Poilievre that we grew to know and love.
This is the Alberta Poilievre.
Ooh, I like it. I like it so much. I really look forward to him talking about all sorts of issues with this kind of honesty and transparency and candor, because we have an entire federal government that does nothing but lie to us and do us wrong. And so to hear him holding their feet to the fire is just such a pleasure. It's so good to sort of have him back and on our side. But I'm really digging Alberta Poilievre's energy.
Yeah, your home, your family, your life. If someone breaks in, you deserve the right to defend your loved ones and your property, full stop. Hey, did we? Oh, we must have. I wasn't paying attention last week. I had a busy Friday. We must have shown Danielle Smith saying getting laughs from the audience that she was in front of, thanks to the question where she said, like, yeah, it's just common sense. You break into someone's house, you're going to get shot or beaten up, particularly in Alberta. Like, you know, if people want to sign our petition, by the way, it's Castle Law or lawsnow.com. And we want to send a message to the Carney Liberals that while you're safe and secure with your armed guards, but in your gated communities, the rest of us have to live with the crime scene of a country 10 years of Liberals being in charge has created. And we should be able to defend ourselves against the people who are reaping the benefits of the Carney Liberals' soft on crime approach. Soft on crime, of course, unless you try to defend yourself.
Yeah. The only people that are opposed to this are the people that are so far removed from their own participation in creating this. You
Right.
know what I mean? They are so far away from this ever happening to them that it doesn't matter if it changes. And maybe, like, it's terrible to say, but until they start feeling this on a personal level, like regular Canadians are feeling this, I don't think they're going to be that quick to change the Liberals, because they never are.
No,
They
that's
don't
right.
care. They don't
They
care,
don't
and they
care.
do us wrong.
Right. Yeah. I would love to see Andrew Coyne engage that mashed potato, engage in hand-to-hand combat in his home, like he expects me to do if
Yeah.
a burglar breaks into my house,
Yeah.
instead of me just putting a broadhead in somebody. Okay, we've got another video from Poilievre talking about the Carney Liberals putting an industrial carbon tax on steel and aluminum, while being angry about the Trump tariffs on steel and aluminum. It's like, okay, so you're okay with the climate tariffs.
I have a theory about this. I can't wait to watch. Okay, go.
I can't wait to hear it.
Okay.
But one tariff that I will be cutting for sure, and I will push the Prime Minister to cut for sure on our steel and aluminum, is the industrial carbon tax. I find it astonishing. Well, I understand Donald Trump's priority is to take Canadian jobs and move them to the United States. He's been very blunt about that. What I don't understand is why Prime Minister Carney would help him do it with an industrial carbon tax on our steel and aluminum products. So our workers are not only hit with Trump tariffs, but with Carney's carbon tax. We need to get rid of the industrial carbon tax, and if Mark Carney will adopt the Canadian Sovereignty Act, then that will include the total elimination of the entire carbon tax, including for steel and aluminum.
Okay, here's my theory, Sheila Gunn Reid, and just see if you can follow my bouncing ball.
Okay.
So we have Doug Ford saying publicly, antagonizing the United States publicly, okay, and inviting more stringent tariffs to be put on steel and aluminum in Ontario. Then we have the Canadian federal government industrial carbon taxing, so double punishing the steel and aluminum sectors in Ontario. And it is because, I believe, maybe, we'll see, that somehow behind all of this, there are a whole bunch of sustainable, net zero, green energy initiatives that somehow the federal government or Brookfield is involved with, that they're going to come along and say, well, it's, we couldn't do anything, steel and aluminum workers, for you in Ontario, but here come a whole bunch of new jobs that are gonna be created through solar panels, through wind, through carbon capture, through the sustainability efforts of our federal government. But what the aluminum and steel workers can't appreciate, it is that it is not them that is going to be employed in the new green sector. Okay, they are going to be replaced by an entire new segment of workers. May they be people that have been displaced in other sectors, but what we're watching, it looks like, is the deliberate tanking of two major employment sectors in Ontario for the benefit of some green zealots. Does that make sense, Sheila Gunn Reid?
Sure. Here's my theory.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down. I don't know if you can see my writing here. I put C5 in big letters.
Mm-hmm.
C5 is the We're Going to Build Everything Act, which we won't, because they also put a poison pill in there that we have to all agree on the things that we're going to build, even if it doesn't go through your province. And we also gave Indigenous veto. So Quebec could ostensibly veto a project that goes like from Saskatchewan through to the coast of British Columbia for some reason.
Right.
But
Right.
what I see is this is an additional poison pill built in. Because even if you could get these balkanized states we call provinces within Confederation to agree on something,
yeah,
this discourages the manufacturer of pipelines through these tariffs. So that even if you're like, you know what, let's say you're a pipeline
Sure.
company from
Sure.
the United States, and you're looking saying, oh, okay, well, maybe they will build a pipeline. Let's consider making a pipeline proposal because it looks like they want us to do that. And then you get there and you look, oh, the cost of this with tariffs now, even if you can get over the legislative hurdles, even if you can get over the regulations, even if you can get past the asking the local feminist how the pipeline hurt their feelings, even if you could get past that, now you're worried about the cost of the steel and the manufacturing to do it.
Yes, that too. That too. It is crazy that this has been lined up in an effort to see it fail. You know what I mean? Like these are not serious actors in this game. Like it is all just an illusion that we want this to be developed. But in the background, if it comes to sustainable, net zero, green energy development, well then let's roll out the red carpet and find out ways to accommodate you. Whereas if it's non-renewable resource development, every roadblock on earth is put up in the way of those projects. Like it is so transparent. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and let's not even consider like the public funding that the green projects get. It's not only that they can get built, but they can also get built with your money.
That they can, I mean, the ways that this has been unfurled on the Canadian public without their knowledge or consent is the most insane thing about Canada right now. We're not a democracy. For people that think Canada's a democracy, we're not. We're a functioning kleptocracy. This is where the elites come in and pillage all of the natural resources and pillage all of the wealth from, you know, the slave states. Okay, so this is Western Canada, and then they take all our money and take all our natural resources and they use it to butter their own bread. I mean, it is wild and off the hook. It is unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah. Moving ahead to Saskatchewan.
Oh, Lord. Okay, here we go.
Saskatchewan has posted a $349 million deficit after projecting a surplus in the budget. And for people from other provinces, those numbers might seem small, but Saskatchewan has like 1 million people. All in. So like the size of Edmonton spread out across all of Saskatchewan. So how did they miss the mark here? Let us know, Lise.
Well, I do believe that a ball somewhere along the way got dropped and we spent more money than we've actually pulled in, which is offensive to the people of Saskatchewan, who are nothing if not financially and economically conservative. We do not like big government and we do not like big spending. And what do we have? We have a big government and we have a big spending problem. Even though $349 million doesn't look like a lot, the Sask Party, the governing Sask Party, has typically in years gone by tried to eliminate that deficit and try to live in the black, and we did that for a great many number of years. And so now we're looking at scrambling to make up for the shortfall. And my question is, if we're $349 million in the hole right now, how many of those millions of dollars has gone towards exploring nuclear development in Saskatchewan's southeast corner? So this is where this story starts. Okay, this is where this story starts. On this very live stream, the night of the federal leaders debate, Mark Carney slipped up and said something about Westinghouse nuclear.
We can find it. Larry Brock, MP Larry Brock, I know, cut it and posted it.
You did,
so yeah, maybe as you sort of explain the story,
we can look for that clip in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically Carney slips up and mentions Westinghouse kind of out of nowhere during the leaders debate, and it perked everybody's ears up. Like, why are you talking about an American nuclear company to the Canadian public? Well, it turns out, you guys, that in 2023, when Prime Minister Mark Carney was not Prime Minister, but just an advisor to the Liberal government, dating back as far as 2020, Brookfield, the company Mark Carney ran, and Cameco, a Saskatchewan mining company, pooled their money together to buy Westinghouse Nuclear.
Okay, and we've got the clip.
Okay.
Carney said it in French, thinking no one would notice.
Ooh, did we
I don't know
notice?
because his French is terrible, but people still noticed. We've got it here.
Okay.
We have big nuclear companies, including Westinghouse, Candu, and others. We have.
Okay, so he plugs Westinghouse, which Brookfield owns.
Does he ever? So Brookfield picked up Westinghouse, which was struggling and in the red. Okay, so here's Westinghouse Nuclear, former appliance manufacturer in the United States, all of a sudden exploring small nuclear reactors, or small modular reactors, I should say, and they were bleeding money. So along comes Brookfield and Cameco with the solution to their money problems. They're like, we will give you all of the money to build your prototypes and to figure out small modular reactors. And we have the best place in the world for Westinghouse to do that. We have Saskatchewan. Okay, Saskatchewan is a world leader in uranium development and mining. Okay, we are extraordinarily blessed with uranium in this place, in Saskatchewan. Right. And then they go further and they say, you know what? We have the world's best place to put that small nuclear reactor.
See, now I see that and I see, oh, you've got a lot of uranium. Let's send it to some place that doesn't have coal, because you guys have coal. So you can benefit from the coal mining and the uranium mining simultaneously without putting one of those miners out of work.
Except for, we're talking about Brookfield, who was completely committed to decarbonizing, to getting off of non-renewables, to developing solar, to developing wind power, carbon capture, nuclear development, small modular reactors in southeastern Saskatchewan. So what they've actually done, Brookfield. Okay, so this, you know what? This wouldn't have even been a story. This wouldn't have even got on my radar.
Yeah.
Had Mark Carney, the former leader of Brookfield or CEO of Brookfield, then became the Prime Minister of the country of Canada, because what he was actually doing in 2023, when he was buying Westinghouse Nuclear, was he was lining up for the shareholders of Brookfield to benefit from Saskatchewan's natural resource development, not the people of Saskatchewan. So Brookfield gets all of the benefits. They make all of the money from all of this nuclear exploration and development in Saskatchewan. And the people of Southeast Saskatchewan are left holding the bag. They assume every risk for this project, and how this thing was ever allowed to go forward without a great deal of scrutiny. Listen, this is all I'm saying. On the surface, I smell smoke, and when there is smoke, there is fire. And we are going to keep digging into this for the people of southeastern Saskatchewan, because not only do they deserve to know what has happened when they weren't paying attention during the terrible time of COVID. Okay, these guys were all doing this while everybody else was trying to survive.
Yep.
And this is that they tried to pull, absolutely not. We are dragging this entire project into the sun because it deserves that level of scrutiny. This involves so much money. It involves so much opportunity for corruption, for the absolute rape of Saskatchewan resources out from under the people of Saskatchewan and straight into the pockets of the Liberals. Saskatchewan, did you sign up for this?
Right.
Did you sign up for this? Absolutely not. The same way.
What is this going to do to coal miners in Estevan?
Oh,
like, if you know, mine uranium, send it to small nuclear reactors, someplace where they don't have the vast natural resources that Saskatchewan has. This is an attempt to get Saskatchewan off coal and unemploy their coal miners.
And Sheila, and it goes so much further than that, because First Nations consultation is also a part of every one of these projects. And I just like I cannot help but think that there are a layer of greasy Ottawa bureaucrats, like greasy consultants being involved in this without the people of Saskatchewan knowing, that are guiding First Nations, because the First Nations have to be consulted, right? A handful of First Nations consultants are about to get very, very wealthy off of this, okay? Very wealthy off of this. And there are fears in the local area that this could be some sort of land back situation. Could this be the beginning of some sort of land back situation?
Right.
Because if First Nations people have veto power, right? If the First Nations in northern Saskatchewan, where they mine the uranium, should the First Nations in northern Saskatchewan have veto power over the people in southeast Saskatchewan? That is a valid question. And when the government of Saskatchewan says, we are all in on nuclear, we are all in on uranium mines, this is going to benefit the people of Saskatchewan, well, show me how. Show me how, if this is going to put everybody out of work in southeast Saskatchewan, how this is going to benefit them.
Let's just show this just so we can sort of tie it all together. And I feel like every day I'm like, oh, this is good Scott Moe. Oh, this is bad Scott Moe. This is, I'm not sure Scott Moe, potentially bad, given that when you see the word Westinghouse, replace it with Brookfield. So this is from Cameco. At today's Midwestern Legislative Conference in Saskatoon, Cameco CEO Tim Gitzel, Premier Scott Moe, and Westinghouse Canada President John Gorman discuss rising demand for nuclear energy. Okay, that's fine. Sask's uranium resources. Okay, that's fine. And the company's roles in fueling North America's energy future. Okay, I'm all for these things if it's not unemploying Estevan coal miners.
I'm all for these things so long as it doesn't benefit Brookfield first. So long as it benefits the people of Saskatchewan first. And I don't see a heck of a lot, excuse me, I just got to rein it in. I don't see a heck of a lot of that going on that stage. Because if you're looking at the trifecta of Cameco, Brookfield, and Westinghouse, well, where's the Brookfield rep on that stage? Is that Scott Moe?
Oh, I don't know.
Is he representing the people of Saskatchewan on that stage, or is he representing Brookfield? And I'd honestly like to know. I'd be open to having a conversation. Like, help me understand this better, government of Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
like this to me looks like the beginnings of an absolute scandal.
Let's get to what's left on the day, because we're gonna go over time. I don't think we'll get to any of the more stuff. Let's just put it in the bank for tomorrow, if you wouldn't mind. Sure. Let's go into LGBT nonsense.
Favorite. That's my favorite.
This is from you.
Yeah.
It says, while the rest of Canada is plunged into poverty, addiction, crime, censorship, homelessness, and hunger, this flagrant, no-expense-spared event is a perfect metaphor for Ottawa. Food bank lines longer than the Pride parades, and $22 billion for Ukraine. And this is you talking about Chris Stacey's tweet about the Capitol Pride Parade arriving on Wellington Street in front of the Prime Minister's office. When is Pride season over? Is it soon? Does it ever end?
Well, by the looks of what's happening here in Ottawa, it looks like they're stuck in 2017. I mean, these are people that have never fully had to jump off the Sunny Ways train. You know what I mean? These guys are stuck in 2017 when Trudeau started funding them to the tunes of hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. And it's just in this 2025 where we know that our country has been so negatively impacted. This is spectacularly tone deaf to prioritize any kind of spending on this kind of event in Ottawa proper, let alone in the further reaches and more economically challenged parts of the country. And I think that is real important to say that, you know, one of my followers were like, oh, but Capitol Pride, you know, they only got $50,000. It's not a very big contribution from the federal government. And I said, but every second attendee at that Capitol Pride parade is also the recipient of a federal grant or a federal fund or federal contracts.
All these organizations like EGAL and whatever Faye Johnstone's racket is called these days, because he keeps having to change names.
Rebrand.
Rebrand. They all get money from the federal government. So it's not just Capital Pride that's getting money. It's all the organizations that are involved in Capital Pride that are getting money. By the way, one of my favorite things about the new Twitter X is community notes. They're so great because you can sort of correct the liars of the mainstream media in real time.
Fact checked. It's a fact checking mechanism for the people.
Crowdsourced fact checking too. Globe Politics tweeted this, or posted this, I should say. Ottawa Pride Parade canceled after coinciding with pro-Palestinian rally. And for me, I was like, mutually assured destruction. Once again, I just stand back on the sidelines and let my enemies fight it out. But it is incorrect. It's disinformation, if you will, to say that it was canceled for coinciding. It was like a scheduling conflict, according to these people. No, the Pride Parade was canceled after Queers for Palestine protesters deliberately blocked the route to demand pro-Palestinian recommitment. It wasn't a coincidence that, like, oh my goodness, everybody's double booked at the protest today. And Chris Stacey again points it out that they were getting nailed with community notes for spreading disinformation. Here's what really happened. And I got to keep all my little jokey jokes to myself if we start this video from the beginning, because it's the golf cart for me that just does it for me. These people should be doing more walking parade routes. Okay. Can we go back and just rewind to the very beginning? And I just keep your jokes to yourself, Sheila.
Oh my God. Well, looks like funding has been decreased for this group of people, because there used to be humongous sponsored floats that went along with this, but maybe the sponsors have learned that this doesn't align with many of their brands, and this is just the best the protesters could cobble together on super short notice.
I picked up a way better looking golf cart for my mother-in-law at a farm auction, and I did some work to it. When I initially got it, looked like the golf cart from Jackass. Like, it looked like someone had flipped it over. This one looks like it's begging to be put out of its misery. Like, this is the true victim in all of this is the golf cart.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Yeah, it's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. It always has been, but even more so now.
Yeah. Canadian doctors who found weak case. This is from True North. Canadian doctors who found weak case for gender intervention bowed to activists. This is, everybody tells you to follow the science, show them this, because when you try to follow the science, politics comes in and strangles everything. McMaster University. Oh, McMaster University. This is the one who last week had their whole breastfeeding, chest feeding article that was out. The birthplace of evidence-based medicine has issued a statement rejecting its own standard for fact-based medicine. Dr. Gordon Guyat, the physician who pioneered evidence-based medicine and co-developed the grading of recommendation, assessment, development, and evaluation system used worldwide to assess the strength of clinical research, recently co-authored systematic reviews of gender-affirming care. Those reviews concluded that only low certainty evidence exists for the benefits of intervention. It was Guyat and 4 colleagues authored this thing, funded by the Society for Evidence-Based Gender Medicine. Then, after pressure from activists, Guyat and his co-signatories insisted their work had been misrepresented. It was their paper. They were concerned that the review's poor quality results will be used to justify denying care such as puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy to TGD, I don't know what that means, transgendered individuals, and warn against using it to restrict access to care. Instead, they argued that low certainty evidence should... What? They argued that low certainty evidence should strengthen, not weaken, patient autonomy.
So what they are doing are abandoning the standards of care that they invented, that they themselves invented. So on one hand, they're saying, right, we should never do anything as a medical profession unless we have the evidence to prove that it actually helps people, that it actually helps. And like after COVID, I think that we can all acknowledge that they did things in haste
Right.
that wasn't good for people. This is a continuation of this madness.
Right.
So you apply this to little kids who have been caught up in a social and cultural contagion of the madness of gender, right? Like the madness of this crazy TQ world we're living in. And they're saying, except for when, so follow the evidence until it gets to the child. And then even if the evidence doesn't support what you're seeing in that child, do what the child wants, because the child can tell you what they need. It is preposterous that we are applying patient-led care, not even patient-centered care, but patient-led care to children that have no idea the lifelong outcomes that they are walking into. It is craziness, but this is a good example of the academic and institutional rot in Canada, where dissenting voices are silenced. And I think Pierre Poilievre has started to talk about this too, with Amy Ham, BC nurse midwife Amy Ham, getting slapped with $93,000 in charges for saying men can't be women and women can't be men, like for just stating biological truth. So looks like this institution is digging in, and may it contribute to their faster downfall.
I understand the words independently of each other, but when they're all jumbled together like this, it absolutely makes zero sense. And I think these doctors have to know it, but they're too scared of the politics, because the doctor says it is profoundly misguided to cast healthcare based on low certainty evidence as bad care or as care driven by ideology. But
he's defending it and participating in it. Yes,
but that is what it says. Like, it is not misguided. That is factual.
Right.
Like, say this another way. It is evident that doing these interventions, which have no good outcomes,
right,
is driven by politics.
Right. And they're like, no, just ignore that evidence and look at our evidence.
But then they go on to say basically there's no evidence or low amounts of evidence that this is even working, but that doesn't mean that it's not working. But
that doesn't mean
that is what it means.
That if we don't give it more patience, that if we don't fill it with more protocols, that if we don't try harder, that if we don't dig in, that it won't eventually work. Well, actually, the Dutch developed this protocol in the 1980s, and they've abandoned it. Okay, they've abandoned it after 40 years. Canada and Australia are going to be the last bastions of this level of insanity until we can get governments in place that are willing to walk it back. And that's exactly what needs to happen. We need governments in place that are going to walk this back. Pierre Poilievre, I'm talking to you. Talking to you conservatives.
I mean, the places that are walking this back, besides the United States, are some of the most woke places in the face of the earth.
And now, because of what happened in the United States, that puts Canada dangerously out of step with the rest of the world. Because the United States, everything with Trump and his executive orders moved so fast on this front that now even what Premier Danielle Smith did in Alberta is really, really behind what the rest of the world and our closest ally, the United States, is doing. So the quicker that we can turn this all back, that we can return to some semblance of normalcy, of biological sex, being the overarching truth that we all abide by, that we all acknowledge. This is no longer controversial, and we should be all equally committed to seeing the end of this madness, all of us.
Just, I'm
What are you
I'm trying
searching?
to I'm searching for a word that starts with M that is from the thesaurus for rational. If you guys know something, put it in the chat, because we don't have a daily cringe today. I think we might have a Monday common sense thing from
Okay.
somebody from music and Hollywood.
Oh, I love this.
Okay,
I
so
can tell you right now, I love this.
we normally have the daily cringe. We're going to start the week with something rational, and it comes by way of Snoop Doggy Dogg. Okay. And he was in an interview about, it's hard to believe that he and Martha Stewart are such good friends, but
I love
anywho,
this for them.
I do. So he said that he is scared to go to Disney movies, and I'll let Snoop explain.
Yeah, let's watch.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz, the Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Yeah, with Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie.
Yes!
Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby?
Yes.
The movie ain't over with. So it's like, fuck me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for. I took my grandson.
Oh, see, here's where Snoop Dogg crosses the line into Papa Snoop territory.
He's Papa Snoop.
He's Papa Snoop. This is the difference between Snoop Dogg of, say, the mid-1990s, who was rapping to all of us in our little Honda Civics about, like pimps and hoes. Okay, that's what
he's come out the other end of the culture war.
Oh, has he ever
spit out the other side?
And so Snoop is now understanding what all of the parents are saying when we're like, leave our kids alone. Like, stop floating these concepts at our kids like they're absolutely normal. This is totally normal, two women having a baby. His grandson is the one that stopped him and was like, what does that mean? Like, explain this to me. Parents don't want to have to correct mainstream media. Exactly. Mainstream media, when they encounter this with their children, we are so tired of it.
It's exhausting. Stop it.
It is the worst, but like, God bless Snoop Dogg for taking this on, because right now he's being attacked by the LGBTQIA community.
Going after him.
Because
he didn't stop the movie to explain to his grandson civil unions in the United States and how they may spawn children. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. He did exactly what he should have done.
Exactly that. Well, I mean, but it does force people to have conversations with their children. And my best example of this was when my then 11-year-old, who was obsessed at the time with Catholicism and Catholic history, wanted to go see Conclave. So I took my 11-year-old to see Conclave. And I don't think that there are any spoilers in this, right? Because it's kind of an old release now.
Yeah.
But at the end, we learn that the new pope is actually a trans man. Okay. And when this was like a plot twist at the end of Conclave, I about lost my mind, Sheila Gunn Reid, because then I had to take my little guy to the van and tell him that this is a crazy, made up Hollywood story that has no basis in truth or fact and nothing to do with his interest in the Catholic Church, nothing at all. So this is what we're saying. Like, stop springing this on us. We don't want to participate in it, and leave the kids alone. Leave them alone. Leave Snoop babies alone. Leave my babies alone. Leave your babies alone. Leave all of the babies alone.
I love that he calls himself Papa Snoop. Papa Snoop. I love that. Yeah, I gotta come up with a good grandma name for myself. Cicely Bardowell, regular viewer, consistent donor to the show. We appreciate her so much. She gives us $20 to start the week and says, since Canada became woke, in Canada, it's disastrous ever since. Trudeau was the original virus. Which one?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Unless we really want change, expect more of the same. You ladies hit all the right notes. Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Cicely. It's
All
good
right.
to have you here. Yeah.
I think that's the show for today. Lisa's back tomorrow and subsequently on Wednesday, which I'm very much looking forward to.
A triple header. A triple
Right?
header. Like,
Right.
so
And
lucky.
starting the week off right. David Menzies was out in the world. I'm like, you know what? I feel like someone's got a bee in her bonnet today and she needs to get it out of her system. Let's see if Lise can jump on this stream today. That's how well we know each other from 900 kilometers away. Everybody, that's the show for today. Thanks so much for tuning in and donating if you did, and sharing the show, which is a great free way of supporting our work. Thanks to everybody who works behind the scenes, Olivia Efron, the web team. Make sure the show's there for you guys whenever you want to see it. Lise, again, thanks for pinch hitting today for David Menzies. Couldn't do it without you.
The pleasure is all mine. I'll see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And well, I'm working on the new tagline, and I'm trying to train my brain to say it. But if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.